Everyone wants to rank at the top of Google, but only a few actually make it to the top. Today, I'm going to give you the top SEO tips to rank for some of the most competitive keywords you can think of, like what is SEO, for example, which gets searched over 1,000 times each month. These are the same SEO tips that we use to drive over 4 million website visitors to our website. The same SEO tips we use to do this are the same SEO tips we use to generate thousands, tens of thousands, and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue for our SEO clients. Hi, my name is Sherman with LYFE Marketing, a digital marketing agency that helps small businesses grow. Today, I'm going to give you the top SEO tips that our agency practices every single day for our clients. The tips that I'm about to give you didn't just help us rank our content at LYFE Marketing, but we deploy the same tactics on some of our other companies, like LYFE Accounting, for example, and tons of our own clients. By the way, if you're new to our channel, go ahead and subscribe now so you don't miss out on future episodes that can help you grow your small business. Also, if this video is valuable to you in any capacity, then please help me out by hitting the like button for me below. Now, I'll be honest, SEO is not for everyone. Once upon a time, earning #1 search positions on Google was quite simple. All you had to do was add the words you wanted to rank for on your website to help Google identify your website for those words. Let's see, what words do I want to rank for today? I think I want to rank for landscaping services. Let me add this keyword right here in this placement on my website, and let me tweak some things over here to add the words over there. Okay, let's ship this off to Google, and soon we'll be ranking #1. As the last decade has flown by, we've seen SEO professional after SEO professional try to game Google's algorithm in order to rank websites on search engines. And to be completely honest with you, some of it worked. But obviously, search engines did not like this because basically this meant that even if I had a crappy website with good SEO tactics, I could outrank better websites with much better content than mine. While that may be good for me, that doesn't necessarily provide the best user experience for people using Google. What did you say? You need a good accountant? Oh, sure, no problem. Let me just Google one, CPA near me. Okay, I got an accountant. Wait. This isn't an accountant. What in the world is going on? To prevent SEOs from gaming their search algorithm, Google has advanced their algorithm to the point where those old tricks simply don't work anymore. They rolled out update after update like Hummingbird, Panda, Penguin, RankBrain, and so on. Now, before you pull up Google and start researching what these updates are, let me go ahead and tell you, it's not even worth your time to study these updates. Because basically, all you need to know is that there's virtually no way to outrank a website without rightfully earning that position. The days of embedding keywords into your site structure and thinking that those changes alone will rank your website higher than the competition are over. The days of getting spammy, low-quality backlinks and spamming your website all over the internet to try to trick Google into ranking your website is over. There are no more shortcuts to being favored in Google search engines. There's only one route to success, and that route is relevance. Your website must be more relevant than the other websites ranking above you on the search engine. It's kind of like if you wanted to beat someone in a foot race, the only way you would be able to do that is by being faster than them. Or if you wanted to outlift someone, the only way you would be able to outlift someone is if you were stronger than them. There aren't any more magic pills, secret formulas, or cheat codes. And if there are, I can guarantee you that it's just a quick fix and it will not result in long-term sustainable success for your business. Google's mission is very simple: to organize the world's information and make it accessible and useful for everyone. The better you can help Google do this, the more likely you'll be successful at SEO. With that said, let's get into my top SEO tips to get insane results from Google. All right, let me go ahead and give you my formula for SEO success up front. Now, while there are over 200 SEO ranking factors that influence your Google rankings, in my experience, all of them are related to 5 major areas. These 5 major areas make up my formula for successful search engine optimization, which consists of optimizing your website's user experience, technical SEO setup, content relevance, website engagement, and external website signals. All of the SEO tips I provide you today will be related to these 5 areas. Now, let's begin with area number 1, optimizing your website user experience. Tip 1, use an effective website design to provide a great user experience. Imagine ranking on the first page of Google and receiving millions of website visitors. But let's say those millions of website visitors hate your website and exit it within 5 seconds of arriving to it. This is effectively useless for your business. And while this may suck for you, trust me, it sucks even more for Google. The reason why is because everyone trusts Google to provide the most useful information to them. So if people are going on your website and leaving, it also means that Google is failing in their mission as a company. Things like this could result in people not trusting Google anymore and trusting other search engine competitors like Yahoo and Bing, for example. I say all of this to say, if your website is not useful to its users, it's not going to be useful to Google. It does not matter what kind of SEO tricks you have in your bag, like backlinks, blogging, or whatever. If people land on your website and leave, you're going to have a rough time. So to prevent this, take your website user experience very seriously. So my first tip is to invest into a proven website design that keeps people engaged throughout your entire website experience. To help you with this, here are some questions that may help you assess your website design's user experience. Question number 1, without scrolling, can users understand what your website is about? Are there appropriate call to actions to help direct people to appropriate destinations on your website? Okay, or over 50% of people view websites on their phone. Is your website responsive across all devices? Or is there a consistent color scheme on your website? Is there enough spacing throughout the website design? Or in other words, does your website design look cluttered? Are there effective images, graphics, or videos on your website? Is your website secure? Is there a SSL certificate installed? And lastly, does the website load quickly? Is it taking too long for people to pull up your website in the first place? All of these things impact your website's user experience. I mean, imagine optimizing your website for all of these search terms, and on the back end, it takes your website a billion years to load for its users. Or imagine getting a ton of backlinks to your website, and your website is not even mobile friendly, meaning you can't even help half of the people using Google's search engine. These are the things you must have checked off if you want to be successful at SEO. Once this is done, you can move on to my second tip, which is implementing technical SEO on your website. Technical SEO, or in other words, on-page SEO, refers to optimizing your website's architecture to meet search engine best practices. Before you do this, you need to have first completed keyword research. Or in other words, identify the words you would like to rank for on Google. If you haven't done this yet, you can use a tool like Google Ads Keyword Planner to help you find keywords based off of things like competition and search value. Once you've done this, you'll need to embed those keywords into your site structure to help Google read, scan, and ultimately understand your website as well as the keywords associated with it. Basically, you will need to embed your desired keywords into your website's meta tags, site URLs, header tags, and other areas inside of your website. Once this is done for your core keywords and your technical SEO setup is complete, you can then send a copy of your website's sitemap over to Google, Bing, and other search engines. This will help Google understand and interpret your website in the manner that you hope for optimal search engine results. Now, I know what you're thinking. How exactly do you do this? While I don't have enough time in this episode to fully go over this process, I can tell you now, you can simplify this process by using free tools directly from Google and Bing, like using Google Webmaster Tools or Google's Search Console, for example. Yes, Google will help you rank your website in their search engines according to their guidelines. In so many ways, they are helping you help them. Regardless, make sure you implement the technical SEO setup on your website correctly. Because if you do this step wrong and search engines cannot interpret your website for the keywords you want to rank for, it is unlikely that you will be successful at SEO. And by the way, if you need help with any of this stuff, then our SEO team at LYFE Marketing will be more than happy to assist. But regardless of how you get it done, make sure you implement this part correctly. Now, let's move on to tip number 3. Create relevant content. Ultimately, it is your website's content that Google wants from your website. They need your website content to provide answers to their users' questions and solutions to their biggest problems. Therefore, the more useful content you publish, the more you increase your odds of ranking higher in Google. Now, to do this, you need to create great written content and optimize that content using the same technical SEO requirements that we discussed in the prior tip. For example, the content on your website's homepage or service page should be useful to the intent of the keywords you are seeking to rank for. Likewise, the content on your website's blog should be useful to the intent of the blog keywords that you are seeking to rank for. Now, great content is a very subjective term, so let me give you some criteria that we use at LYFE Marketing to create great written content for search engines. Number 1, seek to provide the best answer. Whenever you are creating content, try to provide the best answer available on the web. Ultimately, if your content is more useful than the next person's, you'll have a good shot at beating them at SEO. Number 2, aim for a minimum of 1,500 words per page you intend to rank for. According to Backlinko, the average top 10 ranking results has about 1,500 words on the ranking page. So when it comes to word count, the more, the merrier. Tip number 3, include your keywords throughout your written content. To rank for your target keywords, you will need to include them throughout your written content. The frequency of using that keyword and variations of it will help Google identify your site's content for the main keywords you're seeking to rank for. And number 4, make your content easy to read. The easier it is on the reader to understand your site's content, the more useful it will be to them. Avoid technical and industry jargon in your site's content. And if you must use it, be sure to define it. Number 5, use images and video to make your site's content easy to read. Some people are more visual than others, so including images and videos will help aid your users' understanding of your site's content. Okay, these are all great tips, but we're not done yet. Let's go ahead and move on to tip number 4. Increase your website engagement. Now, this is something that is becoming increasingly more important. Search engines have recently placed a higher emphasis on website engagement metrics to determine if your website is actually useful or not to its users. Now, earlier, we talked about how if a user came to your website and left, then you'd probably have a small chance with SEO. Well, this is because of website engagement metrics. Google looks at your website engagement metrics to determine if your website content is useful or not. It all starts with the search engine results page. Google measures your CTR or click-through rate from this page to determine if your website's content is even good enough to incite clicks. If people do not click your website from Google's search engine results page, then it is effectively wasted shelf space for Google. Now, luckily, there are a few things you can do. You can improve your CTR by writing engaging meta tags and meta descriptions, which is what shows up on the search engine results page. When people eventually click on your website, then other website metrics come into play, like your website's time on site and your website's bounce rate. Ultimately, what you need to know is the longer people stay on your website, then the more likely it is that search engines believe your site's content is useful. And on the other hand, if people do not stay very long, then perhaps your website content was not that useful to their search. Either way, you need to think about things like this when you are aiming to increase your SEO positions. Your goal should be to drive as much traffic to your website as possible and to keep them there. Then, as search engines crawl your website, they may see these website signals and agree that your website content deserves to rank above others due to the level of engagement on your site's content. All right, now finally, let's move on to my fifth and final SEO tip. Build external website signals to your website. External signals like backlinks, social shares, and website traffic deeply influence your SEO rankings. In fact, historically, backlinks was believed to be the most important ranking factor for search engines. However, despite the importance of increasing external website signals to your site, the tactics used to do this has been highly debated in the SEO profession. The reason why all boils down to the fact that people used to be able to game the SEO algorithm by getting spammy backlinks or unnatural website traffic to try to trick Google into ranking their website on their search engine. As a result, over the years, Google has placed less emphasis on these type of signals and place more emphasis on things like website relevance and engagement metrics that we discussed in the prior tip. Nonetheless, external signals are still a very important factor to ranking on Google. All right, so here is the best way to increase the external signals to your website without getting penalized by Google. Number one, create SEO content and drive traffic to it. The greenest and most white hat SEO tactic today to increase external website signals is simply to create great content and drive traffic to that website content. Ideally, if your website content is useful, more people will engage with it, share it, and link to it on other websites. Number two, use social media to boost your SEO content. You can drive traffic to your website's content on social media. For example, if you just published a useful blog post, you can promote it on social media to start driving that initial traffic to your website and engagement on social media. This will help you generate both website and social signals for search engines to start noticing your website's relevance. And number three, share your SEO content with media outlets. You can find other industry-related blogs and suggest that they consider adding your great content to theirs. This may result in natural backlinks from major media outlets. You might also be able to form guest blogging relationships in which you can also write content that links back to your website. Regardless of the methods you deploy, you must generate some sort of external website signals so that Google can see that other people and brands trust your site's content. This will make it very easy for them to push your website up their search engine results pages. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and wrap this episode up with a recap. In this episode, I gave you my top SEO tips that resulted in millions of website traffic to our own agency site and thousands of dollars for our clients. The formula for success consists of, number one, creating an engaging website experience. Number two, optimizing the technical SEO structure of your site. Number three, creating great SEO content. Number four, increasing website engagement metrics. And number five, increasing your website signals to increase and push up your SEO rankings. When all these things work in alignment, you will have the best shot to rank your website above your competitors on search. But if you miss the mark on just one of these SEO tips, it can cause a disaster for your overall SEO strategy and results. If you need help implementing any of these steps correctly, then our agency will be more than happy to help you. But anyway, that's it for today's episode. And if this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, then please help me out by hitting the like button for me below. Oh, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future content that can help you grow your business. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.